So if you are watching right now, and Sharon, maybe if you have some questions for us so that Barbara can go and answer, I would love to just be able to answer questions, and Barbara can share her other tidbits that she would like to share, and again, answer questions and let everyone know how you can follow her and do all the great work, or see all the great work that she is doing with her coaching as well. So it's so nice to hear the similarities, and to see, to know that what we need to do is really work on ourselves. And it's one of the things that I say all the time to my clients, and Barbara says all the time to her clients, is we've got to get to the root cause of the issue. And until we figure that out, it is in everyone's best interest to really stay single and really get to know ourselves, because covering up our feelings, covering up our emotions, all that means is we're going to just keep reliving the same life over and over again. And for me, that's what I did. I did that for 15 years of just kind of reliving the same life, the same patterns. It was a new boyfriend, but the same exact issues over and over again. And we start thinking to ourselves, hey, relationships are just really hard, or men are just really terrible. And we start saying to ourselves all of these things without saying, hey, I'm attracting the wrong people. And I know there are people that say, hey, well, I'm too old. There aren't good guys available anymore. And there's all these limiting beliefs that we tell ourselves, and subconscious thoughts, as we were talking about before in the interview. And, as someone, I met my husband, who is my best friend and life partner. And, we're a team. And I met him at 37 years old, and there was that limiting belief of, I'm too old, I'm not going to be able to have the family that I wanted, I'm not going to be able to experience all those things that I wanted to experience. And because I was able to let go of those thoughts and really work on myself and come really to the conclusion that if I was alone for the rest of my life, it would actually be okay. And to get so comfortable with being alone that you would not let anyone come into your life unless they were adding to your life, because that being alone is so comfortable and feels so good that you're only going to allow people into your life that actually add to the experience. And anyone who tries to take it away, those are the people we cut out. So when we're healthy and we're in the right place, we don't even allow those kind of negative people. So what you'll start noticing is that you'll start attracting healthier people, and there'll be unhealthy people that come after us. I mean, let's be realistic. The more you shine your light, and the better that you feel, and the more confident that you are, people are going to come after that light. But when you feel good about yourself and you have that confidence, you're going to see it for what it is, and you're not going to put up with it. You're going to say to yourself, oh, I see what's going on there, and I'm not going to allow that person in my life. And that's really the difference between the healthy versus the staying in the unhealthy relationship, because when we feel good about ourselves, we do not allow the negative relationships and those negative people around us, because we don't have the time. And as we start working on ourselves, sometimes that means we lose relationships with other people in our lives that are not just romantic relationships. Sometimes, we have to really, look at who we've been surrounding ourselves with and say, hey, I've got a whole bunch of unhealthy people. I've got a bunch of people saying that relationships are tough and they're a lot of hard work, and they're also in these bad relationships. And there's all these, there's all this surrounding us where we think, hey, that's normal because that's what we see. We allow people to treat us badly and take advantage of us and all of these different things. And once we really work on ourselves, we're like, hey, I don't have to allow those kinds of behaviors in my life. I don't have to allow those people in my life. I'm only going to spend time and energy with the people that help to elevate my life. And for a lot of us, and I saw a comment there before that some people have never seen a healthy relationship. I hadn't either. I had to believe that there was the possibility of a relationship out there that was going to be great, and that I wasn't going to settle for anything other than that. And be okay that if I didn't find it in this lifetime, that was going to be okay. And once you really get, you really come to terms with that, then you will not settle, because you're going to say, hey, I love life how it is. I love how great it is. And that when you do feel that discomfort, uncomfortable feeling, that anxiety, all of those different things that unhealthy, toxic people bring into our lives, we're able to say, I'm not allowing this into my life, and I'm going to disconnect from that. And sometimes it's for a short period of time. Sometimes it's for a long period of time. Sometimes we just say, hey, I'm going to take this person out completely out of my life, or sometimes I'm just going to, have it for a period of time. But and a lot of times we don't even know which direction it's going to go. Sometimes we have to say, I'm going to be okay with whatever happens. So I'm seeing questions now. Hopefully Barbara can see that we're back on, and I'm going to start answering questions. Let me just see also if she is trying to get a hold of me, because last time she was not able to see that I came back on. Just give me a sec, and then I want to answer questions because I see Stephanie has a lot of good stuff that she's sharing. So just give me about 10 seconds, send a message to Barbara that we are back on. All right, so I let her know. She said that we lost her again. So I let her know that we are back on. So hopefully she will try again to come back on. So Stephanie said, I cannot take another broken heart. All I have experienced is endings, bad ones. So I've spent my life in grief, painful grief for yet another ending. So it sounds like, Stephanie, that when you have been grieving for that long, that every new experience, you're just expecting it to be another ending. So if you're coming into a relationship waiting for the end, then we create it. So we don't ever go all in. We don't allow ourselves to really fully experience the relationship because we're so afraid of an ending. So we do that, number one. We don't go all in. And number two, we might attract people and be with people, well, where we know there will be an ending, where we see the red flags and we say, well, this is the type of person that I attract. This is what I've only known. So I might as well try it with this person, knowing that there's going to be an unhealthy ending there. So when we are coming from a negative, unhealthy place and we haven't figured out the grief, we haven't gotten the right help for the shame and the loneliness and all of those limiting beliefs that we have about ourselves and relationships, when we haven't worked on those things, then we just keep reattracting the same kinds of relationships over and over again. And Stephanie said she's never had a healthy person come into her life. So, and that's, and again, when we've never seen it, it's hard to realize that there are healthy people out there, but we will not be able to find them when we are still not healthy. We need to really work on ourselves before we can actually attract the healthy person. Susan said, it's so hard to end the cycle. We have been together for 5 years. I ended it in January. He kept coming back over 2 months. I finally took him back. He was going to 3 groups, and we were going to couples counseling every 2 weeks, and he still wasn't being open and doing the work. I thought the counselor was a security blanket. Clearly not. I am once again heartbroken. Well, I hate to say, Susan, you are speaking my story, because I did that with my ex-husband and my ex-boyfriend, both long-term relationships in toxic, unhealthy relationships, and I did the therapy with both. I wanted to try everything to save the relationship, and I was hoping, hey, if we can go to couple counseling, then maybe we can figure out what the issue is. And at one point with my ex-husband, the therapist asked him to go outside so that she could speak to me alone. And what she said to me was, I am so afraid for you. This is such a toxic relationship that I am afraid for your safety. I am not sure if I can continue seeing the both of you. She said, because I am so worried that there's just nothing positive coming out of this. She said, I recommend for you to go into really serious counseling, because I think that there is something with you feeling like you need to fix and help change him, and you're not ever going to be able to do that. She said, and what I'm seeing from him, she said, I would never want to be his therapist because I would be uncomfortable around him. And so to have that from a therapist, and I have to say, we still stayed together after that. So I had the therapist sit down with me and tell me how scared she was for my safety. And I said, I get it, but I can handle it. And we're going to figure things out, and we're going to. So after that, my ex was so angry at the therapist that we stopped going to therapy. But it wasn't for any other reason than the fact that he knew that she had sat down with me and told me how messed up things were, and he didn't want to hear it. He knew that he was wrong. He knew that he was doing these things that were so toxic, but he was not willing to make the changes. In fact, for a little while after that, because we did the dance of back and forth of, I'm throwing you out, come back in, I'm throwing you out, I'm getting an order of protection, why don't you come back into my life? And I did all of that. I got the orders of protection. He ended up in jail, and there were all these different things that happened, and I kept letting him come back in because, well, maybe he gets it now. Maybe he finally understood the error of his ways, and things are going to get better. And things would get better for a short period of time, and then they would get bad again. And for a while, he was seeing a therapist on his own. And I was like, oh, he's finally got it. And he was behaving so much better. And I was like, wow, he's actually getting it. The therapist is getting through to him. And then he decided to stop going to therapy and not tell me. And I knew that something was up because as soon as he stopped going to therapy, that old him started coming back out. And I started to see some of those negative patterns coming back out again. And I was like, something's not right. And he finally admitted, hey, I stopped going to therapy 3 weeks ago, and I've just been disappearing when I told you I was going to therapy. We do that because we want to give the person the best possible chance for a positive outcome. But the reality is, they're not going to change unless they want to. When we try to force them to make the changes, it's not going to change. All right, so I saw some other questions. Somebody said, I've had a huge clear out, nobody left basically, but it's good to have gotten rid of the users. Yeah, and realistically, I definitely have had more than a few clients tell me that, they've lost friends when they're working on their own growth. Because, I actually just did a Facebook Live the other day about this. 1 out of 3 Americans is unhappy. And most of those people are not willing to do anything about it. So when we ourselves are working on making our lives better, sometimes the people around us don't like that. They don't want us to make things better because then they have to kind of look at their own lives and see what their unhealthy patterns are. When we stop accepting the negativity that they might be putting in front of us and we start setting healthy boundaries, speaking assertively, sticking up for ourselves, the people who have been taking advantage of us don't like that. Because then now they have to change. Nothing changes if nothing changes. But with change comes discomfort. And the discomfort will be from ourselves for sure, but it will also be with the people around us. Like, oh my gosh, they're not the same person they were before. They might talk negatively about you. They might try to mess up your change. They might try to talk you out of it. All of those things because that's them losing control of the relationship that they were in. So that's part of it. Sometimes we just miss out on relationships, and we miss out on healthy relationships because we've been holding on to those negative relationships. So instead of thinking in a negative way, like, oh, I'm losing these relationships, you have to remind yourself, I'm making room for healthy relationships. And keep that as the positive spin. You're not losing out. You're not missing out. You're actually opening up the possibility for healthy relationships. All right, so Stephanie said, is CODA meeting classes as therapy? No, it's different. In fact, when I do my coaching, and I'm not sure what Barbara does with her coaching, I don't mind if you go to CODA. That's going to be something a little bit different than what we do. I definitely recommend therapy for everyone. Therapy is really important in healing because it really gets down to the issue. Go to the CODA meetings and go get that extra support. But if you are not noticing the difference, you really having a coach, having that outside source, especially someone like Barbara and I who have been there, done that, and been able to heal ourselves and now help other people heal themselves from codependent behavior, then you can actually have someone who knows the subconscious dance that we're doing, the stuff we don't know that we are doing over and over again to keep ourselves trapped. We can point out the little things that you might be doing that are not working well for you, and we can help give you ideas of better behaviors and better interactions to have. So having that daily support of a coach along with your CODA meetings, along with your therapist, along with, recreating your support network, all of those will really be an asset in your healing. Because it took us how many years to get to the place we're at now? I was 34 when I decided to end my relationship and start new. So I was 34 and I'm 41 now. So those patterns took years and years to get there. And if we get down to the nitty-gritty, it doesn't have to take years and years to get through it. We just need to figure out what it is, get it out, and then work on the new us, which takes work and takes some time and the right support. But we can do that. So, the more support you have with healthy, positive people, the better chance it's going to be long-term change. Are there any other questions? I see a lot of people that are having some great things. Nobody cares when you clear them out the way. Friends who haven't even noticed. Yeah, and that says a lot too. So why are we holding on to people that aren't even really supporting us? Susan said, how do I heal my broken heart? How do I stop taking him back again? Why am I back here? You're back there because you haven't done the work on yourself yet. You have not felt that you deserve, that you do not need to put up with this, and you don't feel that this is not love. So you're coming from a place of lack and coming from a place of victimization, and that is a normal feeling. I remember when I decided to make a change, I, for so long, was looking for someone else to come and save me. I wanted that knight in shining armor. I wanted someone, and I didn't know who it was, I wanted someone to come and say, hey, I'm going to make it better for you. And I had a blood clot, I had all these health issues go on, and I was sitting in the emergency room with a swollen ankle because I just sprained my ankle, and my job called my ex-husband to come be there for me because that was the name they still had on file. And I remember looking around with this swollen ankle in pain in the emergency room with my ex standing there, and I started crying, those tears and laughing at the same time. And I was like, oh my God, I get it. I am my own knight in shining armor. Here I was waiting for someone else to come and fix it and make it better for me. And damn, that was not anyone else but myself. It is my responsibility to make it better. It is my responsibility to find the right support and do the right things for myself and ask for help. As codependents, we're so used to helping everybody else. We don't know what it's like to ask for help and take it and accept it for ourselves. So that's going to be the right thing to do, Susan. You're going to have to feel the pain. You're going to have to push through the pain and discomfort, but making sure that you find the right support is going to be really, essential in your healing. And of course, our next 6-week transformational healing group is starting very soon. So if that's something that you're looking for extra support with, that's one of the things that we really dig into during that. And if you're someone who needs the extra support, get a coach. Come work with us. I see amazing stuff every single day in my coaching group. So if you're looking for that added support, then definitely reach out, get the help, because we can't do it on our own. It is impossible to look at those limiting beliefs, those subconscious beliefs that keep us trapped by ourselves, because if we could do it, we would have done it already. So having that outside source to look at what the issue is really going to be what we need in order for the real change to happen. All right, are there any other questions that I see? I don't see any other questions, and I don't see Barbara coming back on, so I guess that there's just a Wi-Fi issue, and that's just where we're at this point. So if you did not get to watch the Facebook Live with Barbara, I strongly recommend going over there and asking whatever questions you have. Barbara can go back and answer all of the questions. Thank you so much for coming and being a part of our afternoon or evening. And, always remember, you are way stronger than you realize. I'll see you in the group. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.